A man details his specific, dehumanizing criteria for a woman to bear his children. He's looking for a beautiful, obedient vessel with precise physical attributes. Mr. Chen condescendingly informs Miss Shen she's over the preferred age, but he'll graciously make an exception. His next condition is a clinical demand for proof of her ovulation. She is taken aback by his forwardness, reminding him that this is only their first meeting. Discussing such intimate and marital details is highly improper. He steamrolls her objections, insisting on clarifying his non-negotiable terms. There will be no marriage until she produces 3 children for him. She's speechless with a mixture of anger and disbelief, struggling to process his outrageous proposal. He rationalizes his demands, claiming that children, not marriage or affection, are the true guarantee of a stable relationship. He coldly states that a single child would not be enough to prevent him from abandoning her. He lays out a future where he will have other lovers, but promises to visit her out of a sense of responsibility. She should simply be grateful, not jealous, as she isn't truly worthy of him anyway. Her shock turns to outrage as she refutes his assessment. She lists her qualifications, a degree, a respectable income, and a stable family, as proof of her own worth. The sheer audacity of his claim leaves her seething. The idea that she could be considered unworthy of such a man is insulting beyond measure. He dismisses her achievements with patronizing philosophy. A woman's independence, in his view, is not a strength, but a pathetic state born from necessity. He delivers the final insult, labeling her as an old, unmarried woman whose life is essentially over. Patience snaps. In a single, decisive motion, she throws her hot drink directly at him, her action punctuated by a silent scream of psychopath. She delivers a parting curse, dedicating the act to all women he might wrong. His punishment, she decrees, should be an eternity with the only thing he truly loves. He calmly cleans himself off, lamenting her feminist brainwashing. He wistfully longs for a past where women knew their place and obeyed without question. A mysterious voice suddenly fills the air, offering to make his dream a reality. Startled, he looks around, trying to find the source of the sound. He is engulfed in a vortex of digital energy as an Emperor system identifies him as its new host and begins its loading sequence. A digital avatar materializes, introducing itself as his system great-grandfather. It announces that it is now his personal guide. Floating through an ethereal digital void, he is promised the power to achieve all of his deepest desires. A year passes. Now in a historical world, he recalls how the system enabled him to pursue and conquer a succession of beautiful women, fulfilling his fantasies. He engages in a playful, blindfolded chase within his harem. The women's voices lure him, turning his conquest into a game. He holds one of his many women, musing on how he leveraged their family influence to consolidate his power and take over the dynasty. He has achieved the pinnacle of power, becoming the emperor, and looking out over the empire he now commands. Surrounded by his adoring consorts, he deludes himself into thinking he has saved them. He has given them what he believes is their true purpose, serving a husband and bearing children. He notes the private jealousies among his women, but revels in their submissiveness towards him. He believes he has successfully tamed them, creating a perfect paradise for himself. Beneath the idyllic surface, a dark secret unfolds. A consort calmly ensures that several corpses are disposed of, buried as usual in her favorite flower garden. Consort Yin Hongling, a chilling smile on her blood-stained lips, reveals her ruthlessness. Any woman who dares compete with her for the emperor's favor meets a grim end. Another consort, Zai Yanner, indulges in a grotesque ritual. She bathes in the fresh blood of young girls, savoring the intense sensation it provides. She immerses herself in the crimson bath, convinced that the vitality of others will grant her everlasting youth and beauty. Consort Ning Banru gazes at the newly constructed star-plucking tower. She contemplates the immense human cost, 200,000 lives, sacrificed for its creation. She feels a swell of pride, judging the extravagant tower a worthy symbol of her own elevated status. It's a testament to her power. From a dark abyss, the tormented spirits of the dead cry out. Their suffering is so immense they desperately plead for any divine intervention, regardless of its source. Their collective prayer is a single, desperate plea for someone to come and end the nightmare that their world has become. Far away, a woman's peaceful beach day is interrupted by an urgent system alert. An emergency mission has been detected in a specific time-space. The mission briefing appears. A transmigrator named Gao Yaowei has corrupted a world with his chauvinistic ideals, and the objective is to eliminate him and his key accomplices to restore balance. The system formally offers the assignment to Agent Su Lüxia. The fate of W time-space hangs on her decision. Su Lüxia recognizes the mission's origin with a smirk. It's the work of the notorious Male Readers Group, an organization known for its simplistic power fantasies. Her small companion chimes in, complaining that this group's agents are reckless. They prioritize making their protagonists look powerful, ignoring the catastrophic consequences. She puts the pieces together. The sheer scale of death and resentment must have reached a critical point, powerful enough to summon her agency across dimensions. With newfound determination, she accepts the mission, ready to clean up the mess. Her partner expresses deep concern. The target's main power is invincibility, a formidable cheat in a low-tech world, especially since her own abilities will be sealed upon entry. She brushes off his worries with a confident air. This is hardly the first time she has had to operate with her powers restricted. Her anger flares as she thinks about the mission's target. The opportunity to dismantle this kind of pathetic, chauvinistic fantasy is one she simply cannot pass up. She decides to review the special tools provided for this particular high-risk mission. The little companion inspects the tool pool and dismisses everything as useless trash. The items are intentionally weakened to prevent detection. She calmly corrects him, reiterating one of her core principles. A tool is only as good as the agent wielding it. She eyes a particular item, a forced possession card. It's a morally questionable tool that allows her to take over a person's body at the cost of their soul. Her plan is forming. With a decisive command, she orders her companion to begin the mission transfer. The little companion inspects the tool pool and dismisses everything as useless trash. The items are intentionally weakened to prevent detection. She calmly corrects him, reiterating one of her core principles. A tool is only as good as the agent wielding it. She eyes a particular item, a forced possession card. It's a morally questionable tool that allows her to take over a person's body at the cost of their soul. Her plan is forming. With a decisive command, she orders her companion to begin the mission transfer. The scene opens on a humble village by a river, its people desperately pleading with an imperial official. An old village chief explains their plight. Without the seeds the official is confiscating, they will be unable to plant the next harvest. He pleads for their very lives, forecasting starvation for the entire village if the official shows no mercy. The official responds with violence, explaining his true purpose. He is a plucking flower official, here to recruit beautiful women, and their lack of offerings means they must pay with their livelihood. The chief abases himself completely, begging the plucking flower official to find a way for his people to survive. Su Lüxia observes the scene with disdain. The very title of the official confirms her suspicions about the tasteless, male-centric fantasy world she's entered. Her little companion can only agree, finding her analysis of the situation painfully accurate. She notices her companion is struggling and gently asks him what is wrong. He explains that the hostile world's ambient power is overwhelming him, forcing him into a state of temporary hibernation. He warns her to get away from the scene. His protective field will soon fail, leaving her exposed. His last thought before succumbing to sleep is a worry that the villagers will spot her. She cradles her small companion, soothingly telling him not to worry so much and just get some rest. She reassures him with her plan. When he awakens, she will have already successfully infiltrated the enemy's stronghold. With his last bit of consciousness, he manages a final, mumbled warning for her to be careful before drifting off. A small smile touches her lips as she looks at him. Even his snoozing form is endearing. She steels herself for the challenge ahead, realizing this will be her first mission operating completely solo. Looking toward the village, she strengthens her resolve. She cannot let her partner down. Her appearance leaves the official, and his guards utterly dumbfounded by her beauty. The official recovers, angrily accusing the village chief of deceit. He points to her as proof that the village was hiding its treasure. The chief, though bewildered, sees an opportunity. He decides to offer this mysterious woman to the official to save his village, accepting the moral compromise. As the guards move to seize her, a subtle smile plays on her lips. Everything is going exactly as planned. She thinks to herself with satisfaction. The first step of her plan, infiltrating the palace, is a success. She arrives at her new assignment, the Tender Peach Palace. Inside, she's assigned to serve one of the primary targets, the notoriously wicked consort Yin Hongling. Her initial assessment of the consort reveals a key weakness. She is a hopeless romantic, a fact that will be easy to exploit. The consort gazes at her reflection, her thoughts consumed by one question. Will His Majesty visit her tonight? A servant timidly delivers bad news. The emperor has chosen to spend the night with another consort. The consort's romantic fantasy shatters. In a fit of rage, she brutally attacks the messenger, blaming her for the emperor's absence. Her rage finds a target in the maid's supposed incompetence. It's the ugly hairstyle, she reasons, that drove him away. Surrounded by the consequences of her fury, she coldly declares that all who displease her deserve to die. Su Lüxia clinically analyzes the scene, refining her profile of the consort. A dangerous combination of romantic delusion and violent psychosis. Stepping into the tense atmosphere, Su Lüxia calmly addresses the fuming consort. She offers a solution, a method to win back the emperor's affection from her rival. The consort's interest is piqued. Meanwhile, Su Lüxia's true motive is to prevent this union, as it would interfere with her own objective of getting close to the emperor. She begins her manipulation, dismissing the rival as a fleeting distraction whose charm is only skin deep. The flattery works perfectly. By appealing to the consort's sense of history and true love, she easily placates the woman's violent ego. The consort, now calmer, acknowledges the new maid's silver tongue. A deal is struck. The consort promises a rich reward in exchange for the maid's assistance in her romantic quest. The promise, however, comes with a deadly warning. Failure will mean being turned into fertilizer for her garden. Su Lüxia maintains her composure, all while marveling at the sheer toxicity of this world that has warped its inhabitants so completely. Meanwhile, the emperor sits alone in his palace, overcome with a profound sense of boredom. He muses over the lack of an heir from his vast harem. The solution, he decides, is to recruit more women. A sudden jolt of awareness breaks his reverie. He notices his transport sheep are behaving erratically, as if drugged. Panic sets in, as he realizes he has lost control of the carriage, which is now careening off its intended path. The source of the chaos is revealed. Su Lüxia has cleverly laid a trail of salt to lure the emperor's unique transport right to her consort's doorstep. But bringing him here is only the first step. The crucial part of the plan is ensuring he stays. As he arrives, the consort is perfectly positioned to welcome him, a cup of wine already prepared. Her invitation is simple, but her expression promises much more than just a drink. From the shadows, Su Lüxia directs the scene, reminding the consort of the first rule of seduction: capture his attention. The visual elements of the seduction are carefully orchestrated. Translucent silks and alluring jewelry. Every detail is calculated to entice, exposing just enough skin to be a powerful erotic trigger. The consort plays her role flawlessly, feigning adoration and flattering his masculine pride. The emperor, his ego suitably stroked, responds in kind, clearly enjoying the attention. He reflects that she understands the fundamental role of a woman is to please a man. Her compliance is a sign of intelligence in his eyes. The next move in the playbook is a deliberately provocative gesture, designed to inflame his desire. She bridges the gap between them by sharing his cup, a subtly intimate act that she frames as an appreciation of his taste. The lesson continues. Avoid overt physical contact, as it can appear desperate and cheapen the allure. She keeps the wine flowing, ensuring his inhibitions continue to lower. The seduction escalates with a subtle, unexpected touch from under the table. His expression shows he's both surprised and intrigued. The series of calculated moves has had its intended effect. He is now completely enthralled. Just as he lunges, she artfully dodges. The game of advance and retreat is key to maintaining his excitement. With the emperor sufficiently intoxicated and aroused, the time has come to play the final card. She presents her final offer, a private dance just for him. He has no patience for a dance. His desire has reached its peak. She drops the pretense, her provocative invitation leaving no doubt as to what comes next. Acknowledging her efforts with a grin, he decides to reward her for her masterful performance. The night's activities are implied by their discarded garments, lying in a heap. Watching from her hiding spot, Su Lüxia feels a sense of grim satisfaction. Such simple-minded men are always susceptible to these classic techniques. She feels a pang of disgust at the role she has to play, reminding herself it is a necessary evil to complete the mission. The scene becomes too much even for her, and she has to cover her eyes from the sheer cringe. She reflects that while she expected low standards from this world's creators, the reality is somehow even worse. A disturbing thought crosses her mind. What if the emperor, the supposed male lead, isn't the agent she's hunting? The horrible realization dawns. The real agent, the true enemy, has been hiding in plain sight all along. The next morning, she approaches the emperor, using her position as a palace maid to get close. A close inspection confirms her suspicion. Her instincts were correct. As she helps him dress, she studies him. A person's core nature is impossible to fake completely. She concludes that his brand of chauvinism is so deeply ingrained, it has to be authentic. He is a genuine product of this world, not an imposter. He suddenly grabs her, his eyes assessing her as if she were a new item for his collection. He gives her a cold, clinical appraisal, judging her physical assets against her lack of status. His verdict is delivered with a smirk. She is just barely acceptable enough to share his bed. She feigns flattery, but her mind is racing. If he's not the agent, he's a regular human, which means her possession card might actually work on him. She continues her flattery, deciding to take the risk. It's a long shot, but she has to try. With a silent, mental command, she activates the power of the card. It fails. She realizes that being a host to a system, even as a native, has fundamentally changed him, placing him outside the category of normal human. She improvises an escape, using loyalty to her mistress as an excuse. Her plan for a swift, decisive victory is now in shambles. He dismisses her excuse with a single, contemptuous question, grabbing her again. He parrots his chauvinistic philosophy, asserting that his consort has no right to be jealous, but should be grateful for his attention. The consort's timely arrival breaks the tension, her smile hiding the calculated nature of her interruption. Su Lüxia bows to her mistress, hiding her relief at the interruption. The consort showers him with affection, emphasizing how she has catered to his every whim. Her suggestive banter about the previous night delights him, stroking his ego perfectly. A flash of anxiety crosses Su Lüxia's face. She hopes her true feelings weren't visible. Her fear is confirmed by the consort's sharp, knowing look. She saw everything. Later that night, she is summoned to the garden by her mistress. She approaches cautiously, asking the reason for the late-night meeting. She mentally calculates the risks. It seems premature for the consort to eliminate her now, but the woman is dangerously unpredictable. The consort poses a cryptic question, gesturing to the unnaturally vibrant flowers in her garden. Her smile turns chilling as she reveals the grotesque secret to her garden's success. It's fertilized with human bodies. She calmly lists her victims, rivals, irritants, and any woman who briefly captured the emperor's gaze. All of them, she explains, now serve a new purpose as nourishment for her prized flowers. The consort's mood shifts abruptly. She expresses her fondness for the new maid, a gesture that feels more like a threat than a compliment. She leans in and whispers a shocking proposal, an invitation to share the emperor's bed with her. The maid is utterly speechless, unable to comprehend the consort's bizarre proposition. Su Lüxia concludes the woman has lost her mind. The consort explains her reasoning. She'd rather share with a controllable ally than lose him to a true rival. The morning's events now click into place. It was a test, an audition for a role Su Lüxia never wanted. The consort reaches out to touch her face, commenting on its captivating beauty. She instinctively recoils from the touch, a move that does not go unnoticed. The consort's romantic delusion shatters, revealing a monstrous intent. She reveals her true desire, to take the maid's beautiful face for herself. The horrifying meaning of the consort's offer becomes chillingly clear. The consort confirms it with a sickening smile. She intends to wear the maid's face as her own. She outlines her twisted vision of a partnership. Her body, but with a new, more beautiful face. She lunges with a blade, her rage mixed with a perverse sense of mercy. The maid is being spared the fate of the others, a fact she should appreciate. Pushed into a corner, Su Lüxia realizes she has to use her trump card now, earlier than she'd planned. She activates the possession card. A flash of light, and the consort's attack halts, her face frozen in shock. The transfer is complete, but she immediately feels the weakness of her new vessel. The compatibility is poor. Her original body dematerializes as her consciousness settles into the consort. The physical mismatch is jarring. This body won't hold her for long. A quick check reveals a slight giveaway. Her eyes retain their original color. Thankfully, it's a detail only her partner would ever notice. Now disguised as one of the main players, she smirks. It's time to see how much chaos she can create with this new identity. In a distant village, an official addresses a crowd of starving peasants, questioning the unbelievable news they've just heard. The desperate villagers seek confirmation. Can they truly receive food simply by offering praise for consort Yin? The official confirms the bizarre new policy. Praise equals food, and effusive praise equals more food. The old chief, ever cautious, begins the recital, praising the consort's beauty with practiced words. His words earn him a bag of grain, a tangible reward for his performance. He kneels in gratitude, overwhelmed by this small act of mercy. His success incites a frenzy. The entire village clamors to offer their own flowery praises in exchange for survival. From her luxurious palace, Su Lüxia inquires if her strange directive has been completed. A new maid confirms the success of the plan. Her reputation is spreading like wildfire among the common folk. The maid expresses her confusion. Why court the love of the masses when the emperor's wandering eye is the real threat? Su Lüxia snaps, perfectly mimicking the consort's imperious nature. A servant's place is not to question. The maid prostrates herself in terror. The brief period of calm was an illusion. The cruel consort Yin is the same as ever. Her small companion, now awake, reappears and teases her about her harsh demeanor, joking about her mood. She playfully shushes him. Given his weakened state, he's hardly one to talk. She explains her predicament. She must perfectly imitate the cruel consort to avoid tipping off the real enemy, whose whereabouts are still unknown. She clarifies that while she will mimic the consort's verbal cruelty, she draws the line at actual physical violence. The little guy finally understands. The bizarre food for praise scheme makes perfect sense now. She winks, confirming that the irrational act was a calculated move to maintain her cover as the temperamental consort. Her true goal is revealed. By building up this new, bizarre reputation, she intends to provoke the other two consorts into a self-destructive competition. The ensuing chaos will create the perfect smokescreen. The real agent will be too busy managing the infighting to notice her machinations. Her companion is full of admiration, applauding her brilliant, multi-layered plan. He feels a sense of pride, realizing that his host is more than capable of handling things on her own. She playfully grabs him, dismissing his flattery. She admits that his absence forced her to step up her game, reaffirming that he is her most trusted ally. She urges him to recover soon, as his help will be crucial for the next phase of her plan. Flustered by her earnest request, try his best before some promptly things never change, falling back asleep. Affection, try his best before some promptly things never change fall. In another palace, news of Yin Hongling's newfound fame has arrived. Consort Zai Yanner, being pampered, listens with irritation as a servant reports the common people's verdict on beauty. Her attendant attempts to placate her, dismissing the opinions of the masses as irrelevant compared to the emperor's favor. The consort's vanity is wounded. She violently grabs her maid, her expression furious. She furiously asserts her dominance. In every sphere, from the court to the countryside, her beauty must be acknowledged as supreme. She discards the servant and issues a new command, her mind set on a new course of action. She will play the same game. She orders that anyone who praises her beauty will also be rewarded with food. To fund this new PR campaign, she commands that the national food provisions be opened. Not to be outdone, the third consort, Ning Banru, also enters the fray, determined to be remembered as the most honorable. Her ambition is not just beauty, but a legacy of supreme honor. A month passes. Back in the W-Time-Space control room, a system activates. W-Time-Space agent Jiang Mo wakes up, greeted by his system. He feels he may have been hands-off for too long. The simple act of dressing himself feels like an immense chore. He finds even the act of eating to be a bothersome task. He sits, utterly bored, and concludes that the very concept of missions is the peak of all troubles. He checks the progress, sees it's almost complete, and decides to just let it finish on its own. But his system displays a shocking update. The mission progress has inexplicably regressed to 47%. His lazy demeanor vanishes, replaced by a sharp focus. It appears someone has been interfering with his world. Back in the palace, the emperor lies in bed with yet another consort, who reminds him that serving him is a great fortune. He suddenly pushes her away, his mood inexplicably soured. He dismisses her completely, stating that he has lost all interest for the night. The rejected consort leaves in confusion, wondering if the emperor has suddenly lost his vigor. The emperor calls out into the empty room, addressing his system. He senses its presence has returned. Jiang Mo's face appears on a holographic interface, confirming to his beloved child that he is back online. He gets straight to the point. He has returned because he needs to ask some questions. He inquires about the state treasury, a question that leaves the emperor completely bewildered. The agent reveals the alarming news. Half the treasury has been emptied. The emperor begins to connect the dots. He casually brushes it off, attributing the massive expenditure to his consort's harmless whims. Unbothered by the potential collapse of his empire's economy, he gets ready to seek out more pleasure. The agent, realizing his host is useless, decides to take a more direct approach. He presents a golden card, making a new offer. Give me your identity. The card is an identity replacement tool, allowing him to temporarily take the place of an indigenous person in the world. He explains that his usual method is to act as a hidden guide, but the current situation requires a more hands-on approach. He will take the stage himself. He stood detached from the world he'd entered, convinced that failure was of no consequence. After all, it wasn't his life on the line. Meanwhile, the body's original owner is trapped in a digital prison, screaming in a desperate, futile plea to be let out. The agent recalls his previous missions, where he tolerated the host's chauvinistic stupidity. But this time is different. He has slacked off long enough. The original host frets over his potential failure. This time, his end-of-year bonus is on the line, and he absolutely cannot take another loss. A woman reads his history with contempt. His survival, despite his misogyny, is a testament to heaven's virtue, but for the women of this era, his existence is a curse. With newfound resolve, she plans her move. She will simply take his identity from him and fix everything herself. A formal announcement echoes through the palace grounds. His Majesty has arrived. The consorts in the harem are stunned. They wonder why this person, wearing Gao Yaowei's clothes, is being hailed as the emperor. One of the women, Yin Hongling, offers a polite, formal greeting to the new emperor. He immediately recognizes her as a fellow agent. His unique ability lets him see her true form, as the replacement technology only fools the natives of this world. He addresses his consorts with a feigned interest, claiming he heard rumors of their beauty and came to see them for himself. Yin Hongling reacts with practiced coyness, pretending to be flustered by His Majesty's teasing. He pulls her into an embrace, startling her. She realizes with a jolt that he has already identified her as an agent. She attempts to play dumb, suggesting they continue their conversation in bed. She hadn't expected to meet the other agent so quickly, nor for him to be so suspicious. He sees through her act completely. He suspected another agent was responsible for recent troubles, and her behavior confirmed it the moment he saw her. He explains her critical error. While she tried to imitate the original Yin Hongling's personality, she missed one key detail. The flaw was in her eyes. She is inwardly impressed. His observational skills are dangerously sharp. He clarifies that the real Yin Hongling was hopelessly in love with Gao Yaowei. The agent's gaze completely lacks that desperate devotion. Her cover blown, she switches tactics immediately. Accusing him of being a demon, she resolves to strike first. She makes a break for the door, intending to call the guards. If she can raise enough doubt about his identity, she might just survive. He slams the door shut, blocking her escape. He calmly compliments her intelligence, a chilling sound in the quiet room. With cold finality, he informs her he never had any intention of letting her leave. A wave of terror washes over her. She lies dead on the floor. He feels a momentary satisfaction, musing that he'd grown tired of her character trope anyway. He looks down at her body, thinking that on any other mission, he would have played with her for a while. This time, however, is different. This is a crucial clearance point for his game. He needed to eliminate the possessed target quickly to expel the alien agent from this time-space. A system alert confirms the target's death and generates a temporary soul vessel for the defeated agent. She has 24 hours to find a new host before it self-destructs. The male agent reflects on the situation from afar. He knew this opponent wouldn't be an easy one to push around. The female agent, now a temporary spirit, is shocked by his brutality. He didn't even argue, he just pulled a knife. She is relieved that her special card allows her to remain in this world temporarily. It buys her time, without alerting the ever-watchful time-space overseers. A cruel smile plays on her lips. It has been a long time since she met such a ruthless man, and she can't wait to see the look on his face when he finds she has returned, stronger than before. She savors the thought of their next encounter. The game is far from over. Now possessing a new body, she enters the Moonlight Palace. She finds the total darkness strange and unsettling. She calls out into the empty hall. From the shadows, another woman emerges, announcing her presence with an unnerving grace. A palace maid hides nearby, covering her mouth and praying she isn't discovered. The new arrival finds the hiding servant instantly. The maid's eyes widen in absolute terror. The woman smiles, deciding the maid will be her feast of human blood for the night. Suddenly, a hand grabs her. A new voice questions who is pretending to be a supernatural being. The female agent, in her original spiritual form, throws the woman aside. She has wanted to ridicule this pompous consort for a long time. Scoffs, throws the woman aside, looking down on the agent. Wanted to she ridicule this belittles pompous her for consort, for simply being one of the long-time emperor's many women. The agent grabs her by the hair, forcing her down. She wants her to feel a fraction of the fear her victims experienced. She declares that the consort is also going to die and activates her power. The consort's eyes fill with terror. The hiding maid breathes a sigh of relief. By some miracle, she has escaped death. A voice calls out from the darkness, ordering the maid to crawl out if she's still alive. The agent, now inhabiting the consort Zai Yanner's body, coolly orders the terrified maid to fetch her some ginseng tea. Then, with a confident smile, the new Zai Yanner makes a stunning announcement. She's pregnant. The news travels fast, eliciting a shout of pure disbelief from elsewhere. A small hamster-like creature is flabbergasted. It cannot comprehend how its master changed faces and became pregnant during its nap. It clutches its head in panic, frantically trying to figure out just how long it has been asleep. The new Zai Yanner calmly observes the creature's frantic energy. It must have been asleep for a very long time indeed. The creature worries that this pregnancy claim is a dangerous bluff. It points out that she doesn't have the pregnancy stone to make the fake pregnancy convincing. She brushes off the concern, confident in her acting. She then quizzes the creature on the original Zai Yanner's past. She reveals that the consort was once a Persian saintess. This background is crucial. Zai Yanner was an expert in herbal medicine and strange folk remedies. Faking the symptoms of pregnancy with her skills would be a simple matter. The creature's attention then shifts to the other agent, the emperor. She explains that he is currently occupied with the political fallout from Yin Hongling's death and will not be visiting the harem. She smiles slyly. She has a special gift planned for him when he finally returns. The hamster confirms it's adapting to the power suppression of this time-space. In fact, after its long rest, the little creature feels full of energy. The agent informs the creature that it will be the main character in her next plot, prompting it to immediately ask about its payment. Official records from the era note that the wicked consort Yin was murdered. Following her death, the emperor personally led his army to quell a 2-month rebellion. The agent reflects on the consequences. Killing Yin Hongling was satisfying, but the resulting rebellion damaged his mission's progress. He makes a mental note to cancel the original emperor's discriminatory policies against women while he's in charge. He sneers at the departed emperor's backward views on women's roles in society. He also notes the treasury was emptied by the previous agent. He decides to make the corrupt Ning family take responsibility for the debt. The record of consort Yin's murder and the subsequent rebellion is shown again, emphasizing its historical importance. The agent again considers the consequences of his actions. The momentary satisfaction of killing the other agent came at the cost of his mission's progress. He once more thinks about undoing the original emperor's misogynistic policies. He scoffs again at the chauvinism of the original character he now inhabits. Deciding the Ning family has profited from their imperial connections long enough, he resolves to make them pay for the empty treasury. It's time for them to bleed a little. A small floating robot interrupts his thoughts. The original host is requesting to speak with him again. Annoyed by the host's constant whining, the agent agrees to put him through, wondering why the system would bind itself to such a personality. The original emperor appears on a screen, begging his great-grandfather to let him out. He promises to behave and accept any punishment regarding the women. The agent impatiently repeats his promise to let him out once the situation is under control. The trapped man persists, asking when that will be. His whining only fuels the agent's irritation. Confined in his digital prison, the original emperor's meek expression hardens into one of resentment. He just has to wait. He plots silently. He will continue to act like worthless trash for a few more days, but his time will come very soon. The agent yawns, weary of the situation. He curses the original author for creating a main character who only thinks with his lower body. A messenger bows before him. He brings an urgent message from the Moonlight Palace, requesting his immediate return. The agent groans internally. Ever since the battle, The women of the harem have been relentless with their schemes for attention. The messenger delivers the news with a beaming smile. Her ladyship, Consort Yan, is pregnant. The agent is stunned. He knows for a fact that the original emperor was infertile, making this pregnancy impossible and highly suspicious. He considers using a rare and expensive tool to verify the pregnancy, but he doesn't want to waste his few remaining points. He decides it's better to investigate in person. He gives the order to prepare for his return to the palace. A dark thought crosses his mind. If this is another stowaway agent from a rival time-space, then the overseers have some serious explaining to do. The emperor's arrival at the Moonlight Palace is announced. He wastes no time, immediately questioning Zai Yanner about her pregnancy. He points out that her stomach shows no sign of a bulge. She calmly explains that at only 2 months, it is far too early for the pregnancy to be visible. She playfully tugs on his sash, asking if he thinks she would fake such a thing just to curry favor. He feigns reassurance, citing the imperial physician's diagnosis as proof, even as he internally doubts it. He pulls his sash away, claiming he is only concerned about preventing any messy complications. His eyes land on a plate of tangerines. He casually remarks that he remembers she used to hate them. He pointedly asks why her tastes have changed, privately convinced he's found a flaw in her act. A person's habits are not so easily changed. She has an answer ready. Pregnancy, she explains, has given her a craving for sour things. She intentionally placed the fruit there, waiting for him to notice. She offers him a slice, turning his own test against him. Pregnancy, she knows, is the perfect cover for any and all inconsistencies. He eats the sour fruit, struggling to hide his revulsion. He absolutely loathes anything sour. Changing his approach, he remarks that she seems to have gained some weight. Her eyes instantly flash with genuine, unfeigned outrage. She leaps to her feet, aghast, and checks her waistline in disbelief. He watches her, and for the first time he sees a real reaction. This is not acting. He backtracks, admitting he must have been mistaken. He starts to wonder if he has been too paranoid. She settles into his embrace, coyly calling him mean for teasing her. She internally smirks at his naivety. A woman's fear of getting fat is the most authentic reaction he could have hoped to provoke. He pushes her away slightly, still annoyed by her physical proximity. She asks if he will be staying the night. He would much rather return to his own space and play games. Spending the night with a pregnant woman holds no appeal for him. She insists, clinging to him. The next part of her plan requires him to stay. He relents with a sigh, agreeing to do as she says. He is thoroughly annoyed by this entire charade. Later that night, she suddenly sits up in bed, crying out. She tells him she had a terrible nightmare about blood and losing their child. He lies there, impassively wondering if this is some form of cosmic retribution for all the people she has killed. He tries to dismiss her fears and go back to sleep, but her performance is just getting started. Frustrated, he realizes he will have to spend the night coaxing and comforting her. She continues her act, planting a seed of doubt. What if it wasn't just a nightmare? What if it was a prophecy from the gods? She tearfully suggests their child is in grave danger. He pats her head, trying to soothe her with a dismissive gesture, promises her that he will try to soothe her, with no harm dismissive comes to her, or their child gesture. She pretends to be calmed by his words, her tears subsiding, but she is not finished yet. He sighs, his patience wearing thin. She suggests they summon a shaman to the palace to cleanse the yin energy of the harem, which she claims could harm their unborn child. He refuses to allow witchcraft in the harem, but concedes to visit her daily, mentally categorizing it as a chore to collect login bonuses. He assures her that as the son of heaven, no evil spirit would dare approach them. She closes her eyes, feigning contentment. She thanks him for his divine favor. Internally, she knows her plan is working. She will nurture this seed of doubt and let it grow. 3 days pass. A furious voice rings out in another part of the palace. Consort Ning demands to know what happened to her precious Qiang sea pearl powder. Her kneeling maid explains that Consort Yan's servants took it, claiming they needed more since the emperor was visiting. Consort Ning's rage boils over, and she smashes a cup on the floor. She scoffs at the absurd excuse. The emperor despises makeup, so why would he need pearl powder? She seethes with anger. That newcomer Zai Yanner has become unbearably arrogant after gaining a little favor. She decides she will pay a personal visit to this upstart. She is determined to remind this fox charmer of the true power and influence of the Ning family. She decides to go confront her rival immediately. She vows to teach Zai Yanner a lesson she won't soon forget. As she approaches the Moonlight Palace, she is struck by how eerily silent it is. The atmosphere is ghastly. She cannot understand why the palace is deserted in the middle of the day. She stops in her tracks, certain she heard something. Her maids dismiss it as the sound of the wind in the leaves. She shakes her head, insisting she heard a girl crying. Her maids exchange nervous glances. One maid whispers a chilling rumor that consort Yan used to drain the blood of palace maids, and their ghosts still weep. For a moment, even the proud consort wonders if the place is truly haunted. One of the maids begs her mistress to leave. They can force an apology from consort Yan another day. Consort Ning snaps, dismissing ghosts as nonsense. She believes Zai Yanner is using her former status as a saintess to spread superstitious fear. She declares these are nothing but cheap tricks used by foreign barbarians to seem powerful. She is resolved to expose Zai Yanner's schemes for all to see. As she strides into the palace, her aristocratic nature is on full display. Ning Banduo is a woman accustomed to the finest things. Even the perfume sachet she carries is made from the rarest of flowers, a 1,000-year snow lotus. It is a terrible shame, then, that the scent of snow lotus reacts with the Persian perfume burning in the room to induce powerful hallucinations. From a hidden location, Zai Yanner smiles. Her trap, laid one step at a time, has finally been sprung. Her hamster companion, perched on her shoulder, questions the existence of a secret tunnel in the palace. Zai Yanner answers bluntly. The original owner of this body was a pervert. She used to sadistically hunt the palace maids, forcing them to hide so she could watch their terror from the safety of the tunnel. The little hamster shivers, disgusted by such perversion. Zai Yanner decides they have watched long enough. It's time to prepare for the final act. In the main hall, Ning Banduo is still determined. She knows something is amiss. She hears the wailing sound again, more clearly this time, and looks around frantically. A sharp snap from behind her makes her spin around, her heart pounding. She sees nothing. It was just a false alarm. But as she glances at a mirror, a curtain behind it is slowly pulled open by a masked figure, who giggles mischievously. She lunges toward the curtain, finally finding the source of the haunting. Behind the curtain lies only a mask. Hidden from view, the hamster stretches, proud of its physical exertion. Ning Banduo is confused. A mask couldn't move a curtain, but she is certain no one else is in the room. She feels a sudden, strange prickling on her back. The hamster lands silently, having completed its mission. Elsewhere, Zai Yanner applies ghoulish makeup. She makes a mental note that using eel's blood on the mirror was a bit too disgusting. Her hamster companion shields its eyes, exclaiming that her horrifying appearance is what scared the consort into fainting. She smirks, remarking that since she's played a female ghost before, she can hardly be blamed for being a skilled professional. The emperor is informed of the incident. He listens as a servant explains how consort Ning fell ill after her visit, and now the palace is rife with rumors of ghosts. He inwardly admires his opponent's clever tricks. Zai Yanner feigns surprise. She claims she was napping and that all her maids had retired, so she has no idea how consort Ning could have encountered a ghost. She adds that the strangest thing is that only Ning Banduo heard the crying. Perhaps, she suggests innocently, it was simply her destiny. The emperor is thoughtful. The fact that only Banduo saw a ghost is indeed suspicious. He begins to wonder if he was wrong about Zai Yanner. Could the real agent be Ning Banduo? Zai Yanner is pleased to have successfully diverted his suspicion. She feigns exhaustion, complaining of frequent nightmares and restlessness. She uses the incident with Ning Banduo to pressure him into inviting a priest to the palace. She knows he can't refuse a request that now has the backing of the powerful Ning family. Tired of the endless games, he agrees. He is a man who prefers to solve problems directly. She praises his wisdom, secretly looking forward to the look on his face when he finally understands her true plan. The ritual items are laid out, ready for the ceremony. The actor is asked if he has memorized his lines. The man hired to play the exorcist complains. It took him 3 nights to learn the difficult prayers. Zai Yanner reminds him that this is the price he must pay for being the male lead in her elaborate play. Sawa Lujuo, the exorcist, strikes a dramatic pose and rehearses his speech about cleansing the harem of evil spirits. Zai Yanner claps sarcastically. His performance is grandiose and terrible. She gives him 0 points. He is taken aback. She confirms that yes, it was that bad. She smirks. Tomorrow's performance is meant to be full of flaws. After all, how else would she attract the agent's attention? The day of the blessing ceremony arrives, the stage perfectly set. The exorcist begins the rite, theatrically commanding the evil spirits to show themselves. The emperor watches from his seat, making a dry comment about how fast his consort works. He notes how she managed to find an exorcist the day after he agreed. It's almost as if she had him prepared all along. She deflects smoothly, claiming she was only responding to his own urgent request. She interrupts him, announcing that the exorcist has completed his divination. The exorcist collapses dramatically, announcing that he has his results. He proclaims that the child in consort Yan's belly is the reincarnation of a true dragon. The emperor is bored with the charade and relieved it's almost over. The emperor plays along, praising his consort. Internally, he finds her entire scheme to legitimize her child utterly tiresome. She feigns confusion, asking what this revelation has to do with the haunting in the harem. The exorcist explains that a black dragon is haunting the palace, its evil energy threatening the righteous energy of the imperial child. The emperor feigns shock, while Zai Yanner asks where the supposed black dragon is. The exorcist declares that the secrets of heaven cannot be revealed, but he will offer them one clue. He shouts a cryptic proverb about being unable to see a mountain while standing within it, then leaps away, making his grand exit. Enraged by the attempt to flee, the emperor lunges forward. The hamster is nearly frightened to death by the sheer power of his martial arts. Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. The emperor grabs Zai Yanner, his ruse over. He knew they were waiting for him here. She feigns confusion, her act of innocence unwavering. He tells her to stop pretending. He knows she and the exorcist are working together, and the black dragon was a clear reference to him. She gasps in mock realization, pretending to finally understand the exorcist's cryptic message. She slyly adds that she wouldn't have thought of it herself, but it seems others share that view of him. The other consorts whisper amongst themselves. The strange occurrences, the pregnancy, the exorcist, it all points to the emperor being the villain. He finally understands her full strategy. She used instinctual reactions and rumors to manipulate public opinion against him, a classic move from the female readers group. He grabs her, his voice low. Her scheme wasn't bad, but does she really think a single comment is enough to topple him? She turns his threat into a dramatic plea, asking if he wants her to commit suicide. She falls to her knees, begging for the life of her unborn child, knowing the audience is watching. The harem now fully believes the rumor. His Majesty is the Black Dragon and wants to kill Consort Yan and her holy child. The Emperor's face is a mask of fury. The play is over. She looks up at him calmly, her act dropped. She asks what he wants her to prepare for, knowing their identities are now in the open. He suddenly smiles, his voice dripping with false sweetness. It has been a long time since he faced an agent from her group, and it's time to show her his own acting skills. They pull apart, both privately repulsed by the charade of affection. The hamster awakens, horrified to see she is still wearing her ghost makeup. She explains the current situation. Rumors of him being a black dragon have spread, yet despite his identity being exposed, the agent hasn't moved against her. On the contrary, he has showered her with affection and gifts for the past few days. The hamster asks if she poisoned him, then remembers that agents of his level are immune to such things. She clarifies his motive. He is being exceptionally good to her precisely because everyone thinks he will kill her. To do so now would only prove the rumors true. The hamster nods, though it notes that the rumors are still rampant. She smiles slyly. That's because she has been secretly adding fuel to the fire. She is simply waiting, letting the pressure build until he is forced to find a way to silence the rumors completely. She snaps a jeweled bracelet, full of anticipation. He had better not let her down. Servants carry chests of treasures, following the emperor's orders to deliver them all to the Moonlight Palace. He muses on her cunning, recognizing her use of a child as a shield. It's a smart, if predictable, move. Repeating past mistakes is not an option. A direct attack would only solidify the Black Dragon rumors. The timing of this child's arrival is far too perfect to be a coincidence. He recalls the endless drama spun by a certain group, their stories of deceit and infidelity. His suspicion deepens, questioning the very legitimacy of her pregnancy. An invitation arrives, calling for a banquet. The occasion is unexpected. The consort finds the agent's sudden call for a banquet suspicious. There must be an underlying reason for such an abrupt gathering. She knows with certainty that the agent has ulterior motives for this banquet. Nothing he does is ever without a hidden purpose. Her suspicions are confirmed as she walks through the garden. Everything is proceeding just as she anticipated. The ground beneath the tree is disturbed, confirming her fears. The hidden medicine residue has been discovered by someone. The small companion panics. With the evidence discovered, the ruse of her pregnancy is about to be completely exposed. She smirks with satisfaction, her plan unfolding perfectly. The long-buried medicine has finally served its intended, devious purpose. Her companion is stunned into silence. It dawns on the small creature that this was her intention all along. It was a necessary move to spread the news of her fake pregnancy. She observes that men are often slow to grasp these situations, so a more direct approach was needed. Consort Yan presents herself to the emperor with all due formality, offering wishes for his continued health. The emperor dismisses the need for ceremony. He invites his beloved consort to join him by his side. He internally mocks her performance, another classic move from the female readers group playbook. She acts delicate while methodically destroying his name. Claiming to feel unwell, the consort modestly suggests he spend his time with the other women. It's a polite, but firm rejection. He strides forward, amused by her act. He refuses to entertain her pretense of being unwell. Without warning, he lifts her into his arms, insisting her place is with him and no other. She is taken completely by surprise. He internally cringes at his own actions. Quoting those domineering male lead tropes feels utterly shameful, even if it's all part of the act. A sudden, sharp pain jolts him back to reality. Her grip on his hair is surprisingly strong. A grim message appears, written in blood. A curse is laid upon the palace, prophesying the doom of the true dragon at the hands of the black dragon. Whispers spread like fire among the other consorts. The miscarriage confirms their darkest fear. The emperor must be the cursed black dragon. Consort Yan, overwhelmed with grief, violently pulls away from his grasp. She cries out in anguish for her lost child. He calls for the physician, but his mind is racing. To cover a fake pregnancy with a fake miscarriage is a new level of cunning, and he is almost impressed. He corners her, confident in his knowledge that a physician can tell the difference in her pulse. She coolly meets his challenge, utterly unfazed. Her grief turns to outrage. She accuses him of causing their child's death, only to now question the very existence of her pregnancy. She stands defiant, a dagger now in hand. As a revered saintess, she has never endured such profound humiliation. With tears streaming, she holds the blade to her own heart. She would rather die than live with this stain on her honor. Her grief turns to outrage. She accuses him of causing their child's death, only to now question the very existence of her pregnancy. She stands defiant, a dagger now in hand. As a revered saintess, she has never endured such profound humiliation. With tears streaming, she holds the blade to her own heart. She would rather die than live with this stain on her honor. He seizes her, preventing the fatal blow. He will not let her die and allow this staged miscarriage to tarnish his name. As he grabs her wrist, the truth hits him with sickening force. She has already taken poison. He is flabbergasted by her commitment to the act. Are all agents from the female readers group so proficient at martyrdom? She smiles weakly, blood staining her lips. His discovery is too late. Her death will solidify the rumors against him forever. Her body goes limp in his arms as she whispers a final, taunting farewell. He is left to deal with the fallout. A system screen summarizes the outcome. The consort's death and the loss of the heir sparked public outrage, triggering a full-blown rebellion by the Zai clan. All his hard work has been wiped out in a single night, his mission progress reset. He feels the crushing weight of his failure. His anger simmers as he reflects on the betrayal. He concludes that there is nothing more venomous than a woman's heart. Since things have escalated, he resolves to get serious. It is time to return her attacks in kind. He prepares to leave, instructing his system to watch over things. The small system is terrified, having never completed a mission on its own. He gives the system one simple instruction: keep the original host, Gao Yaowei, alive. Nothing else matters. As he departs into the system space, he reaffirms his sole priority. Beyond that one task, nothing else matters. Left alone in the quiet room, the small system trembles, but accepts its new, daunting responsibility. A man with long brown hair attempts to contact the host, but the little system informs him of the host's absence. Gao Yaowei's face falls with disappointment. The one he sought is gone. He then turns his attention to the small system, politely requesting its presence. The system is confused and concerned by the unexpected request. Gao Yaowei doubles over, complaining of a terrible stomach ache. He feebly suggests he might have been poisoned. The pain becomes unbearable, and he collapses, crying out that he wishes for death. He weakly pleads for help, but the small system can only watch, frozen in uncertainty. Suddenly, dark energy erupts from Gao Yaowei, ensnaring the helpless system. This was his plan all along. 1 year ago, he was a different man, expressing gratitude to the great-grandfather entity for its assistance. But even then, a seed of doubt had been planted. He recalls the feeling of being a puppet, his body not his own. While the entity's control brought convenience, a terrifying thought arose. What would happen if his powerful protector turned against him? The fear of losing everything, his power, his status, his very life, began to consume him. He resolved then and there, with grim determination, that he would never allow himself to be so vulnerable. He remembered a crucial detail from their first encounter: a small machine that seemed to be the source of the entity's power. The only path to true security was to seize that power for himself. He began to plot how he might steal the plug-in and become the master of his own fate. A new, sinister system materializes before him. It announces that its data scan is complete. He meets all its dark requirements. He is shocked by the sudden, terrifying manifestation of demonic energy. This is far beyond any magic he knows. The system offers him a pact, sensing the malice and greed in his heart. Binding with it promises unimaginable power. A cruel smile spreads across his face. This demonic power is the perfect solution, the ultimate weapon against his great-grandfather. With a look of triumphant madness, he accepts the demonic contract without hesitation. A glowing sigil burns itself onto his chest, sealing the dark pact. The contract is complete. Demonic wings erupt from his back as he revels in his newfound strength. Now, he believes, he is the true protagonist of the story. He gloats to the trapped system, explaining that his new power thrives on malice, allowing it to grow at an exponential rate. He confesses that he intentionally let his consorts cause chaos. Their malice and the suffering they caused were simply fuel for his ascent. After so much plotting and waiting, his moment of ultimate triumph has finally arrived. The transmigrator reappears, immediately sensing the chaos. The situation has become incredibly troublesome. All he wanted was a simple tool to help his mission. He never intended for things to escalate so dramatically. He vents his frustration at the bureaucratic nightmare of the system's procedures. This is more complicated than it has any right to be. He suddenly detects Gao Yaowei's presence and is stunned. How did the original host break free? Gao Yaowei, radiating a new dark power, casually greets his returning great-grandfather. Impressed by his swift response, he contemptuously crushes the transmigrator's device underfoot. Such a feeble attack is nothing more than a minor annoyance. The transmigrator stares at his great-grandson, who is now surrounded by demonic power. The terrifying truth dawns on him: he is facing a demon system user. He pieces it together. Wild systems can emerge, latching onto individuals like Gao Yaowei and amplifying their desires. His great-grandson was the perfect host. Gao Yaowei rises from the throne, his expression dripping with smug condescension. The answer should be obvious. He attacks, unleashing his dark power. The resentment he has harbored for so long finally explodes into violence. Caught in his opponent's grasp, he demands to know his system's fate. He knows 007 must have been compromised for Gao Yaowei to escape. Gao Yaowei sneers, revealing the horrifying truth. The transmigrator system has been consumed to feed his own demonic power. He stumbles back in disbelief. The speed at which the demon system absorbed his own is unnatural, even for a wild system. Survival is the only priority now. He must escape, regroup, and prepare to settle this score later. In the empty, smoke-filled room, a single thought of triumph resonates. He has won. He savors his victory, earned after years of silent suffering. He is finally free from the presence that haunted his own body. With the power he has seized, he declares his absolute autonomy. From now on, his destiny is his own to command. On a balcony, a eunuch named Yuan Bao is startled by a sound in the darkness. He draws his sword, on high alert. He challenges the unseen intruder, threatening to attack if they don't reveal themselves. He nervously wonders if he's dealing with a ghost. A woman with purple hair descends gracefully from a tree. She questions the powerful eunuch, asking if he has already forgotten her. As the eunuch lunges to attack, his history of cruel and evil deeds flashes through his mind. He has brought death and ruin to many. He dismisses her appearance as a cheap trick, continuing his assault without fear. He cycles through the ghosts of his past, trying to place her face. The list of his victims is long, but he can't identify this specific spirit. Deciding it doesn't matter, he readies his final strike. Whether human or spirit, she will fall to his blade. Her fingers stop the cold steel with impossible ease. She knew he was a villain, but this is something else entirely. Hearing him list his atrocities firsthand fills her with a cold, simmering rage. With a flick of her wrist, she disarms him, condemning the vile scum to an eternity of repentance in hell. He stares at his shattered blade in utter disbelief. Such power is impossible. A strange power activates nearby, bathing the garden in an ethereal light. A new consciousness takes root in the eunuch's body. Playing the evil consort again would attract too much attention. Being an evil official seems far more amusing. He reports to the emperor about the public protests, realizing with a jolt that the man on the throne is no longer his agent, but the original Gao Yaowei. Gao Yaowei dismisses the protests with contempt. He believes a woman's only purpose is to bear children and serve her husband. Anything else is a distraction. He continues his lecture, asserting that a woman's value is measured solely by the quality and quantity of her offspring. He seeks validation from the consort at his side, who meekly agrees with his pronouncements. He doubles down on his oppressive decree, planning a grand ceremony to broadcast his views. He will teach all women that their happiness depends entirely on men like him. He offers hollow praise while his mind races. This grand ceremony, amid widespread unrest, is reckless and completely out of character for the shrewd agent he knows. The only logical conclusion is that something has gone terribly wrong. The agent must be gone, and the original, foolish host is back in control. Gao Yaowei aggressively confronts a consort, demanding to know her transgression. He notices her painted nails, a detail he remembers she disliked. She nervously claims it was a whim, ready to remove it to appease him. His suspicion is absolute. Declaring he trusts only the dead, he has the woman killed on the spot. Unfazed by the execution, he coldly orders the entertainment to resume. The party must go on. He muses on his strategy. The agent always possesses a woman in the harem, so the solution is simple: eliminate them all. The agent, observing from his new vessel, notes a disturbing change. The original host is back, but he is far more ruthless than before. In a hidden room, the consciousness of the transmigrator sighs in relief. He has finally found what he was looking for. He reflects on his dire situation, infuriated. He never anticipated the emergence of a demon system, nor being so thoroughly outmaneuvered by Gao Yaowei. He has to admit, the man chosen by the emperor system is no fool. He may act the part, but underneath, Gao Yaowei is a deceptively dangerous opponent. Without his system, his first priority is to find a new host. A sleeping woman nearby presents a perfect opportunity. The palace affairs director, a personal appointee of Gao Yaowei, is the ideal target. It offers the closest possible access to his enemy. As he moves to possess the sleeping form, he stops short. To his surprise, he senses another consciousness already inhabiting this body. He recognizes the presence and is stunned. Why would an agent from the female readers group choose a eunuch when their usual targets are evil consorts? The other agent, now awake in the eunuch's body, addresses him directly. It is time for an explanation. He wearily admits that the story of his conflict with Gao Yaowei is a long and complicated one. Feeling drained, he decides to rest first, promising to share the details after a nap. The eunuch watches him settle down, simply telling him to get some sleep. As the transmigrator drifts off, the eunuch thinks with cruel amusement. He despises lazy men, and 2 hours is more than enough time to prepare a grave. The eunuch's warning snaps him awake. Realizing his energy is critically low, he concedes and begins his explanation. After hearing the tale, the eunuch is impressed in a grim way. To lose a target to a wild demon system is a uniquely spectacular failure. He counters that an agent possessing a eunuch is just as rare. They are both in equally bizarre circumstances. His original plan was simple: possess the palace director and get his revenge on Gao Yaowei. Now that the director's body is taken, he proposes a new arrangement. He'll simply lie back and let the other agent handle the difficult work of revenge. The eunuch looks at him with utter disdain, finding his proposal to be pure idiocy. He grabs him, refusing to let him shirk responsibility. Gao Yaowei now wields the power of 2 systems, making him an incredibly strenuous target to defeat alone. He offers a new, far more intimate proposition. Since he'd rather not face this mess alone, they can become partners in more ways than one. Pushed onto the bed, the transmigrator is thoroughly confused by the sudden and aggressive turn of events. A woman arrives at the chamber door. She playfully chides the devil inside for summoning her at such a late hour. Now in a new female body, the transmigrator notes the imperfections of the transfer. He hopes the unchanged eye color won't give him away. The other agent is unconcerned by the flaw. As long as the new host is comfortable, the details are irrelevant. The agent explains the host's background, including her villainous partnership with the eunuch. The transmigrator, however, is fixated on the strange euphemism for their relationship. He patiently explains the specific cultural term. It denotes a romantic relationship between two women, or, in this case, a maid and a eunuch. Now in his female host, he dismisses the nuance with bravado. His faction isn't concerned with labels, only with results. He demands to know why he was forced into a female body. The other agent plays coy, pretending the answer isn't obvious. He reveals the core of his plan. Their new, intimate relationship is designed to be a direct provocation to Gao Yaowei. The transmigrator is flustered by the agent's forwardness, questioning the need for such close physical contact. The agent explains that this is a performance born of necessity. Within the palace walls, they lack the freedom for any other course of action. Gao Yaowei is dangerously unstable. To maintain his cover as Lan Zhai, he must convincingly play the part of her lover, which requires getting used to physical intimacy. Reluctantly, the transmigrator has to admit that the agent's reasoning, however unpleasant, is sound. The agent's training method is a bit too enthusiastic. His embrace is suffocating, and the transmigrator demands to be released. A sudden realization dawning on him. In his new fundamentally body, wrong with this performance. The problem isn't the physical contact itself. The issue is that the transmigrator, in his new body, has absolutely no grasp of feminine mannerisms. A sly grin spreads across the agent's face. He promises to personally train the transmigrator in the art of being a woman. The transmigrator grows nervous at the agent's unsettling enthusiasm, warning him not to take things too far. The agent begins his lesson, poetically describing the feminine grace of the host body's slender waist. He continues the appraisal, comparing her legs to delicate branches in springtime. Her lips, he notes, are as lovely as cherry blossoms, and her eyes hold the captivating allure of fine silk. He takes a sip of tea, thoughtfully summarizing his observations. Each individual feature is flawless, yet the combination of these perfect parts results in an inexplicably awkward whole. The transmigrator is at a loss to explain it. Outside the door, two maids wonder at the silence from within. They begin to worry that something has gone wrong. Hearing footsteps approach, the transmigrator panics and shoves the agent away. The maids peek inside, innocently asking if eunuch Bao is okay. The agent, his composure shattered, angrily dismisses them. The frightened maids scurry away with apologies. As they flee, the maids gossip about the scandalous scene they just interrupted. Once the coast is clear, the transmigrator tells the agent he can stop the act now. In her panicked haste, the transmigrator has managed to sprain her back. This is not the graceful display the agent was hoping for. Time passes, and a new day begins. Lounging in the garden, the transmigrator begrudgingly admits that the agent certainly knows how to live comfortably. The agent reminds her that her mission takes priority. Her sprained waist may excuse her clumsy walking, but it's no excuse for laziness. Growing tired of his nagging, the transmigrator silences him with a drink, telling him to relax. She teases him, warning that his constant stress will lead to premature aging. The agent is not amused. He holds the straw, a slow smile spreading across his face as he realizes she just used it herself. She fails to grasp the significance of the shared straw, casually asking if there's a problem. He leans in close, spelling it out for her. By sharing the straw, they have essentially shared an indirect kiss. As she blushes, he presses his advantage, teasing that she must be quite smitten to resort to such cliched romantic tricks. The agent stands up, privately fuming. He's irritated by her teasing and the insult to his masculine pride. He waves dismissively and issues a clear directive. She must ensure Ning Banduo willingly attends the ceremony at Mount Tai, by any means necessary. She covers her blushing face, completely bewildered by her own reaction. She's never been one for romance, so this is deeply confusing. She blames her reaction on the host body's pesky female hormones. Women, she decides, are just hopelessly troublesome creatures. The emperor's decision to hold the ceremony and impose new taxes has brought immense suffering to the common people, who cry out in protest. The Zai clan seized the opportunity to launch a rebellion, but it was brutally crushed by the emperor himself, forcing the survivors into hiding. The day of the ceremony arrives, and the imperial procession, including consort Ning, makes its way up the sacred mountain. Summoned by the emperor, the agent enters the royal tent at Mount Tai, his heart pounding with uncertainty. Gao Yaowei lunges without warning, a sword aimed at his throat. He venomously compliments the eunuch's audacity. His eyes burn with fury as he demands to know how this traitor dares to appear before him. The agent freezes, his mind racing. Has his identity as the transmigrator's great-grandfather been exposed? He prostrates himself, begging for mercy. He knows if his true identity were discovered, Gao Yaowei's reaction would be far more violent than this. This is not an execution. He realizes with dawning clarity that Gao Yaowei is testing him, trying to probe for information. Gao Yaowei sneers, dismissing the pathetic act. He lays out his theory. After his defeat, the great-grandfather would logically possess the closest official to plot his revenge. To confirm his suspicion, all he needs to do is use his system's investigation function. The truth will be revealed in an instant. Just as he is about to act, Lan Zhai rushes in, desperately pleading for the eunuch's life. She falls to her knees, confessing to the capital crime of a forbidden love between a palace maid and a eunuch. She offers her own life in exchange for his, begging the emperor to kill her first. The agent, still on the floor, thinks his partner is laying it on a bit thick with the dramatics. Gao Yaowei seems amused by her display of devotion. He acknowledges her bravery in being willing to die for the man she loves. He offers her an alternative. A beautiful woman like her shouldn't waste her life on a eunuch. She could secure her future by bearing his child instead. She tearfully claims to be unworthy, a calculated move. The agent knows this plays perfectly into Gao Yaowei's deep-seated misogyny. Her confession enraged him. He strikes her, screaming that her past makes her nothing more than a common slut. He pronounces his verdict. A woman who is not pure has no value whatsoever. The transmigrator is inwardly seething. Being forced to play a woman is bad enough, but being cast as a tainted one is an unbearable humiliation. Gao Yaowei is frustrated. The interruption from this worthless woman has cost him the chance to confirm his suspicions about the eunuch. He dismisses them with contempt. The eunuch's pathetic, piss-your-pants terror is proof enough that he isn't the formidable great-grandfather. Safely away from the emperor, the agent can't help but ask if his partner was genuinely so terrified that he lost control of his bladder. The transmigrator, now back in his own spiritual form, vehemently denies such a humiliating suggestion. The agent reveals her clever ruse. While he was distracting the emperor, she created the accident herself using a water bag. He takes offense at the word flirting, but she calmly confirms that yes, she was referring to him. She grows serious, grabbing him to make him understand the gravity of the situation he just survived. Gao Yaowei could have executed him on the spot without a second thought. The fact that he didn't is significant. She explains her insight into Gao Yaowei's psyche. He has a twisted complex about women, but shows no such hesitation when it comes to killing men, especially eunuchs. He remains confident in his assessment. Gao Yaowei is too paranoid to kill him without first confirming his true identity. She corrects him. Gao Yaowei's goal isn't to kill the host, but to determine if the host's body has been hijacked. The logic clicks into place. He finally understands the true nature of Gao Yaowei's psychological games. With the immediate danger past, the agent reveals she has more information to share. She reveals that she detected a faint signal from his lost system. She believes its survival is the true purpose of this entire ceremony at Mount Tai. If Gao Yaowei succeeds in absorbing the system, he will become unstoppable, and they will be erased from this world. They must act now. He outlines their new, critical mission. They must retrieve his system and correct the corrupted path of this world. The agent tempers his enthusiasm, pointing out a critical flaw in his otherwise sound plan. To reconnect with his system, he needs a compatible medium, another system to act as a bridge and reclaim control from afar. As if on cue, the agent reveals her own trump card. She presents her personal system, a small white creature. He is surprised she brought her system, knowing that cross-dimensional travel suppresses their power. It was a significant risk. She cradles her small companion with genuine affection, declaring it to be her most important partner. Her affection quickly turns to business. She demands a steep price for the use of her system, much to his annoyance. After some haggling, he reluctantly agrees, muttering under his breath about the troublesome nature of women. Her system seems quite pleased with the outcome. The small system awakens in a state of confusion, suddenly realizing it has become a bargaining chip in a deal made while it was sleeping. The agent tempers his enthusiasm, pointing out a critical flaw in his otherwise sound plan. To reconnect with his system, he needs a compatible medium, another system to act as a bridge and reclaim control from afar. As if on cue, the agent reveals her own trump card. She presents her personal system, a small white creature. He is surprised she brought her system, knowing that cross-dimensional travel suppresses their power. It was a significant risk. She cradles her small companion with genuine affection, declaring it to be her most important partner. Her affection quickly turns to business. She demands a steep price for the use of her system, much to his annoyance. After some haggling, he reluctantly agrees, muttering under his breath about the troublesome nature of women. Her system seems quite pleased with the outcome. The small system awakens in a state of confusion, suddenly realizing it has become a bargaining chip in a deal made while it was sleeping. Under the light of the moon at Mount Tai, a summons comes from the emperor's tent for eunuch Bao. Consort Ning wonders at the reason for a summons in the dead of night, her curiosity tinged with condescending amusement. A court official arrives, calmly proposing to bestow upon consort Ning the very glory and rank she desperately craves. She scoffs at his offer, boasting of her family's immense power that grants her every whim. She sees no need for a eunuch's help. He coolly counters her arrogance, suggesting her presence at this clandestine meeting betrays her own unspoken ambitions. He uses a poorly made cake as a metaphor, pointing out the coarseness hidden beneath her palace's finery, a quality even her dogs would shun. Her patience wearing thin, consort Ning demands he stop with the allegories and state his true purpose for being there. He lays her ambitions bare, the desire for fame, by accompanying the emperor, only to crush them by declaring her hopes are destined for failure. Furious, she asserts her dominance over the harem, unable to fathom that the emperor would choose anyone but her for such an honor. He pierces her denial, reminding her that even with rivals dead, she fails to grasp what the emperor truly values above all else. The answer is simple and devastating. The emperor's greatest desire is for legitimate heirs to secure his line. The truth stuns her. For years, no consort has borne a child, a fact she foolishly believed secured her own untouchable position. He shatters her confidence with a secret revelation. Another woman is 3 months pregnant, and the emperor's protection of her spells doom for Ning's future. With his mission complete, he prepares to depart, confident that he has provoked the power-hungry consort into attacking her new rival. As he leaves, he notes that the emperor, Gao Yaowei, is no longer the passive man he once was, and will not be easily manipulated. Consumed by jealous rage, she resolves to confront the emperor, determined to force him to yield and not be overshadowed by a rival with an heir. The emperor explodes with fury at her audacity, questioning her right to interfere in his succession and regretting the political marriage that bound them. His contempt for her deepens. He sees her as an arrogant fool who understands nothing of her duties and has now crossed a fatal line. She accuses him of forgetting the great debt he owes her family, casting aside their support for the mere promise of a child. His rage boils over, and he strikes her down, his violence a brutal rejection of her family's supposed influence over him. Bleeding and on the floor, she is reminded of her true place. She belongs to him, and her identity is defined by his whim alone. He orders her confined to her tent for her insolence, demonstrating that her status as consort offers no protection from his wrath. He reflects with bitter contempt on a woman's defiance, believing violence is the only way to ensure a wife's total obedience. In her chambers, her bravado crumbles into tears as her maid questions the wisdom of provoking such a dangerous man. The maid chides her for knowingly challenging the emperor's fierce nature, her sympathy mixed with annoyance at having to tend to the wounds. Bruised but resolute, she decides on a new path: conspiracy. She will collaborate with eunuch Bao, remembering it was her family that secured his throne. Her message is one of pure vengeance. Since her family made him king, they can unmake him, and she will ensure he pays for this humiliation. Her maid accepts the order, contemplating the intricate game of human hearts, and realizing she must sharpen her own skills to survive. A day earlier, a plan was already in motion, the question of its status hanging in the air as a tiny creature listened intently. The agent reports a weak connection to their target, fearing discovery by the emperor. Her superior, however, remains unconcerned. The mastermind reveals the strategy: incite the Ning family to rebellion. This chaos will distract the emperor, creating an opportunity. The scene flashes back again to that pivotal moment, the question repeated as the tiny creature on her head listened. Again, the agent voices her concerns about the precarious connection and the risk of exposure, only to be placated by her confident partner. The core of the plan is stated once more: use the Ning family's treason to fully occupy the emperor's attention, clearing the path for their own goals. She watches the evidence of rebellion turn to ash, surprised. She believed this letter was a tool to gain trust, not fuel for a fire. He calmly explains his indifference. The revolt is doomed regardless of the letter, so involving himself further would be a pointless gesture. He finds a far more practical use for the proof of treason: roasting a sweet potato. Some rebellions are not worth the paper they are written on. He juggles the hot potato, remarking with amusement that a snack cooked by the flames of sedition carries a unique heat. The playful moment passes, and he returns to business, inquiring about the progress of her part of the plan. She confirms her mission is on schedule, confident of its completion before the upcoming imperial ceremony at Mount Tai. Deciding it is time to maintain his disguise, he stretches and prepares to pay a visit to the emperor's side. The tiny companion on her shoulder suddenly grows suspicious, accusing her of hiding something from its esteemed host. Faced with the creature's miniature threats and accusations, she simply dismisses it with a sigh of profound annoyance. She holds the chattering creature, which insists on its proper title of bamboo rat, while demanding to know if she has betrayed its master. Her expression hardens with resolve. She knows they have committed to a path from which there is now no turning back. The emperor's eyes snap open as a familiar, unsettling pain grips his mind once again, a disquieting anomaly. He clutches his head, tracing the recurring pain back to an earlier test. His system-enhanced body should be flawless. This is impossible. A dark possibility dawns on him. This is not a malfunction, but an external attack targeting his very system. The thought is interrupted by news of yet another rebellion, a familiar disturbance that has plagued his entire reign. He rises, weary and contemptuous of the endless revolts. He cannot understand why these families fail to grasp his absolute, godlike power. He considers the timing, wondering if the sudden rebellion and his debilitating headache are truly an unrelated coincidence. In the heat of battle, a soldier feels a sense of unease. Something about this staged fight feels fundamentally wrong. Observing from a distance, the mastermind grows concerned. The emperor has not appeared, meaning their diversion is failing and discovery is imminent. His agent appears stressed, but she attempts to soothe his worries, insisting they still have enough time to succeed in their mission. He challenges her confidence, reminding her of the original, much tighter timeline she had promised him for her task. She feigns a casual miscalculation, shrugging off his concern with an unconvincing air of nonchalance that only deepens his suspicion. His patience shatters. He grabs her, his voice sharp as he demands to know the truth she is so clearly concealing from him. With a defeated sigh, she concedes that she cannot keep secrets from him after all, her gaze shifting away. He is caught completely off guard as she invokes the little rat, and his expression fills with confusion. The tiny creature appears, pressing an anesthetic cloth to his face while apologizing to its true master. The betrayal is as swift as it is shocking. As he loses consciousness in her arms, she looks down with an expression of deep regret for the betrayal she felt was necessary. Lifting his unconscious form, she reaffirms her decision. Despite her feelings, she believes this was the only path forward for them both. In his unconscious state, a single, vital plea escapes his lips, a desperate hope that she will remember his name. With her small companion in tow, she carries him away from the scene, leaving the fake rebellion and their original plan behind. Consort Ning gloats in her tent, believing her coup is succeeding. She speaks to the absent emperor, savoring her perceived victory. Her brother arrives, promising that he and their father will capture the emperor and force him to his knees before her in apology. Meanwhile, the emperor is inside his own tent, merely annoyed by the commotion from the supposed rebellion outside his door. He reclines with a cup of wine, utterly unbothered by the threat, treating it as little more than a noisy nuisance. The consort is baffled by his calm demeanor. His casual drinking in the face of her family's revolt is incomprehensible to her. His lack of fear enraged her. Convinced of his incompetence, she resolves to deliver his final, fatal lesson herself. She calls out to her brother, a flicker of fear entering her heart as she realizes his reckless charge might be a fatal miscalculation. The emperor, with an air of profound boredom, declares their foolishness as he casually reaches for another sip of wine. They are courting death. He rises, the facade of a weak ruler dropping away to reveal a terrifying, dark power. The time for pretending is over. A cruel smile plays on his lips. He will now show them, and all who defy him, the true and absolute meaning of despair. The scene shifts to utter terror. Consort Ning is on the ground outside, trembling, begging the monstrous figure to keep its distance. Her mind shatters with the realization. The man before her is no man at all, but some kind of inhuman monster. He stands amidst the carnage of her family's forces, informing her that the time for regret has long since passed. He grabs her by the hair, his voice cold as he informs her that begging for mercy now is an utterly futile effort. He looks down at her broken form, expressing a faint, cruel surprise that she has managed to survive this long. He compares her tenacity to that of a cockroach, his voice dripping with disgust for her instinctual refusal to simply die. With chilling finality, he declares himself an expert in extermination and ends her life with a single, brutal stomp. His rage vented, he dismisses the corpse and turns his attention to what he considers the real source of his troubles. The headache returns, and with it, a damning observation. Every time it strikes, his two system agents are conveniently absent. He turns his thoughts inward, consulting the powerful entity within him, his great-grandfather system, for its analysis of the situation. He emerges to confront his foe, mocking her as a sensitive, defeated dog. She retorts that he is the true loser, a mere soul forced into a woman's body. He lunges, promising a swift end as repayment for her previous care. His gratitude is a promise of death. The agent, Yuan Bao, awakens with a throbbing head, slowly recalling the betrayal by his own system companion, Little Guy. Little Guy appears before him, no longer a tiny creature but a young boy, cheerfully confirming that his host is finally awake. Disoriented and weak, Yuan Bao questions his small guide, trying to make sense of his new and unfamiliar surroundings. A sense of urgency cuts through his confusion as he demands to know the whereabouts of his partner, Jiang Mo. His anger flares, and he confronts the boy, demanding to know the price of this deception. The child, intimidated, finally relents. The boy confesses their motive. Jiang Mo orchestrated the betrayal, believing it was the only way to save Yuan Bao's life from the emperor. The battle in the forest rages. The emperor senses his opponent, Jiang Mo, is already at their limit. Despite a weakened state, Jiang Mo dismisses the emperor's taunts with weary annoyance, calling him noisy. The emperor is incensed by this disrespect from what he considers his subordinate, grandson system. He snarls in frustration at his opponent's infuriating and stubborn defiance in the face of certain doom. He lands a devastating blow, revealing he was never fooled by their deceptions and has known their plan all along. He reveals the full extent of his knowledge. He knew they were conspiring to seize control of his body from the very beginning. Even in defeat, the agent remains defiant, suggesting the emperor's paranoia is a disease in dire need of a cure. The emperor is unconcerned with confessions. He has all the proof he needs and doesn't need to hear the agent admit it. He tightens his grip, vowing that once this agent is dead, he will hunt down and eliminate the other one. He speculates about the other agent's power, wondering if absorbing their system could elevate him to true godhood. The dying agent offers a final, mocking piece of advice, suggesting the emperor is delusional and needs a wake-up call. The emperor returns the threat with cold finality, promising a chant for the dead in return for the agent's impudence. The agent realizes this is the final desperate gambit. To unleash the system's full power, the host, he himself, must die. His final thoughts are of the preparations he made, entrusting his legacy and power to his partner through a password and a final, whispered plea. In a final act, he pulls the system from his own body, wryly concluding that the life of a lazy good-for-nothing suited him better than heroic sacrifice. As his life fades, he wonders what final vision awaits him, only to hear his own name, Jiang Mo, screamed in despair. His final vision is not what he expected. It is the face of his partner, Yuan Bao. Her true identity is revealed. Jiang Mo, an agent bound to the emperor system, operating across time and space. Despite his mission's grand scope, his personal interests were simple. He preferred watching movies to the burdens of being a hero. He reflects on his favorite myth, never imagining he would one day be living out a version of that very story. The scene transforms into his cherished myth, with his partner arriving as the prophesied hero, calling his name. He sees her, and the words of the story fill his mind, a tale of a hero destined to come for their beloved. He watches her fall, a tragic conclusion to a story whose beginning he had so perfectly and hopefully envisioned. An alarm sounds within the emperor's system. Host Jiang Mo's life signal is gone, triggering a restart and detecting an inheritance password. As Jiang Mo dies in his arms, the system offers him its power. Without hesitation, he accepts the bond to avenge him. The transfer commences, binding the powerful emperor system to its new host, Yuan Bao. Reborn in a new, powerful form, he confronts the emperor, ready to exact justice for what has been done. The emperor feels the immense pressure of this new power, yet his own arrogance remains entirely unshaken. He unleashes his own demonic energy, utterly confident that in a true battle of strength, he cannot be defeated. The new warrior observes the physical manifestation of the emperor's power, recognizing the telltale signs of demonic transformation. She looks upon his demonic form with utter disdain, dismissing his power as insignificant compared to her own. She strikes with overwhelming force, lecturing the inferior system on its proper place in the hierarchy of power. Wounded and reeling in shock, the emperor cannot comprehend how his supposedly invulnerable body could possibly be harmed. His mind struggles to process this impossible reality, his delusions of invincibility shattered in an instant. His opponent hovers over him, delivering the ultimate truth that shatters his ego. He is not, and never was, the god of this world. Her system identifies his as a subordinate demon system, and the very presence of her superior power causes his to collapse. The process begins to strip him of his power, identifying and retrieving the junior system he so arrogantly wielded. The retrieval completes, leaving him utterly powerless. The self-proclaimed god is reduced to begging pathetically for his life. His desperate pleas to live are met with pure contempt. His fear is seen as nothing but pathetic and embarrassing. She kicks him contemptuously, reminding the fallen emperor of his past hatred and disrespect for women. She delivers the final, ironic blow, asking if he ever imagined his end would come at the hands of the gender he so despised. A system notification confirms the successful elimination of all targets, bringing the long and bloody mission to its conclusion. The battle is over. She stands in her true form, relieved that the mission is finally, truly complete. The small companion weeps, mourning the tragic but necessary sacrifice of its former host, Jiang Mo. She interrupts its mourning with a startling question that contradicts everything it just saw, shocking the little creature into silence. She explains the grim mechanics. Without a system, an agent's death is final. Jiang Mo was trapped, destined to perish. She then reveals the loophole, a sly smile on her lips. A host could be saved if another provided them with shelter before death. In a flashback, Jiang Mo is seen haggling for a higher price for his services, much to his partner's visible annoyance. He clarifies his price is not money, but something far more personal and valuable: her name. He offers his system companion as collateral for this strange request, a gesture she finds more troublesome than charming. He reflects on the true value of a name for agents. It is a license for one soul to inhabit another's body in a crisis. This was his true plan. The full strategy is revealed. She called his name at his moment of death to draw his soul into a new host body, a brilliant and daring plan. The little creature, now curiously duplicated, voices the obvious question: if Jiang Mo is alive, then where is he? She grows impatient with his hiding, calling out and threatening to leave him behind if he doesn't show himself immediately. Jiang Mo emerges in his new body, defending his post-battle rest, as maintains his nonchalant professional act diligence. Defending his post-battle rest, as maintains his nonchalant professional act, claiming his absence was merely a considerate attempt to stay out of her way while she finished the fight. She offers her sincere gratitude, recognizing that his seemingly reckless actions were ultimately all done to protect her. Flustered by her sincerity, he insists his actions were purely mission-oriented, then comically laments that he probably failed it anyway. He mourns his lost year-end bonus, then scoffs at her recruitment pitch, finding her agency's motivational motto completely unappealing. He tries to leverage his broke situation for a free meal, but she shuts him down flatly without a moment's hesitation. His hopes of a comfortable, lazy life dashed, he theatrically bemoans his grim, colorless future as a good-for-nothing. Annoyed by his theatrics, she demands her system hurry up the return transmission so she can be rid of his complaining. Her system companion begins to explain the delay, a mischievous look spreading across its face as it speaks. It happily declares that it, too, has been inspired and has adopted a new, lazy lifestyle, much to its host's utter horror.